I'm here with Ayush Maheshwari.
Hi, hello.
We're here in his apartment in New York, and he's here to tell us a little bit more about his business.
Yeah, so I started a company with a friend of mine called Pair Me Wines, and what we do is we get wines made in France, and they're made for food pairings essentially. So we have a red wine for steak right now on the market, and we have a white wine for seafood pairings, and it's all kind of labeled and marketed in a very kind of easy way, so that the consumer can really identify, what wines to pick for different kind of meals. Yeah, that's what we do.
So when did you start?
So me and Scott started thinking about an idea about the end of last summer, and then we've been on the market now for about 3 months.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank
That's
you.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you always have a passion for wine, or is it something that kind of came up?
I think my passion for wine kind of started coming when I started working with Scott more, learning more about it, the art, the craft. But yeah, no, before kind of really sitting down with Scott and talking about all of this stuff, I wasn't that passionate. Of course, I enjoy drinking wine, but that's different, I guess.
And if I understood correctly, your specific concept is to pair wine with specific food.
Yeah.
Is it something that came up through your college life and you saw an opportunity there? Or?
So my business partner, he worked for a wine distribution company before me and him sat down and started making our own label. So kind of just while he was working, he kind of realized there's probably a white space in the market. And then when we had like a small idea of, which way to head, we started kind of carrying out a little bit of research, on the floor, seeing what's happening in stores, seeing what's happening in restaurants, and yeah, then we kind of took it down this wine way.
And I'm also really curious to know from when you started to have the idea, how long for you did it take to, from the brainstorming to the execution, to the actual, not the execution, but the start of like doing something,
Well, I think it took us probably about two months to kind of just figure out like which way we're headed, how we want to do it, because of kind of Scott's contacts in the wine world with different distributors and being very close to the boss of the distribution company. We had kind of contacts with different winemakers. We had different guys who were doing the shipping, doing the labeling. So because of all of that, like it took kind of 2 months to kind of make sure we had an idea, a concrete concept, and then we just kind of pushed. We started making labels. We started telling people about it and asking their opinion, and yeah.
So knowing who to contact helped.
Exactly, absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask also a few questions about what it means to be an entrepreneur to you. So what do you think makes you a good entrepreneur, and what do you think are the skills needed to be an entrepreneur?
So I think if I start with like the skills needed to be an entrepreneur, I think to be an entrepreneur you have to be able to be quite adaptive, quite flexible and easygoing, in the sense that there's always going to be ups and downs, and this is on a daily basis, and you have to be able to kind of go with the flow. You have to be able to be good at making quick decisions, problem solving, and you have to stare like adversity in the face and be like, you know what, this is what I want to do, I'm going to do it, because there are going to be a lot of people out there doubting you and not sure about what you're doing. But if you believe in yourself, like that's very important. And to be an entrepreneur is quite a lot of responsibility, because when you start at this stage, especially if you start kind of being whatever the boss of the company, you have to, you have people who are working for you, your people trying to improve your brand. So if you're not working hard or harder than others, how do you make others work hard for you,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like responsibility in yourself. Like you're not working for anyone, right? You're working for yourself. So how much do you respect yourself? How much do you respect your company? How much do you respect the people around you, right? So you have to have a lot of kind of self drive. But yeah, no, it's great fun.
Do you think you would have answered me the same way if I had asked you the same question a year ago? Like, did you know what you were getting into?
So honestly, when we started out the company, it was all like, we have ideas, we kept talking about it, showing people, and then kind of like lawyers got involved, different trademarks, copyrights, and it all just started happening, and it happened without us even realizing that we're
Yeah,
actually going to have a
yeah.
product in stores. We're going to have a product in restaurants. It felt kind of like a fairy tale in a way, that everything was just going well.
Going well.
So
yeah.
and we'd be very grateful for that,
Mhm.
of course, and
Yeah.
we're still very grateful for that. So yeah.
But I'm sure you've also encountered some challenges. What would you say was the biggest?
Absolutely. I think one thing when you kind of have a company, you have to have like a lot of trust in others. So I think initially, you know, knowing who you're working with, knowing who's going to be close to you now
Yeah.
for this project, that was important. Like building a trust amongst the team. But beyond that, I mean, like every day, you know, there's new problems, new troubles, and it's
have to be able
you,
to
you
deal
have to be able
with-
to deal with
on the
them.
moment.
Like every day,
Yeah.
something new, something different. And when it's a small company like ours, it's everyone has to make either like huge decisions or really small decisions. But yet you have to constantly
Yeah.
be doing things. You're waiting on other people. You know, we're getting wine from France, of course. So you have to wait on these guys. Time difference. Their kind of work attitudes in different countries are very different. So it's a lot. You know, it's a lot to deal with. Yeah.
Have you been to France?
So I haven't been to France
For the business.
to check out
Okay.
our vineyards yet, but I am making a trip in
Cool.
January probably. So yeah.
Cool. And so you also said that your wine is now distributed in several stores in New York City.
Yeah.
That's very soon for a company that just started a year ago. Did you think that this was going to happen that fast, or?
Well, honestly, we've kind of exceeded our own expectations. Our wine has been in New York for 3 months now. We're in like 80 different stores. We're in like 20, 25 different restaurants. We have a really great team. The guys who we work with, our distribution company, they really know like how to do a good job. We have a head of sales who's just been absolutely killing it. So even for us, like we ordered X amount of wine and we started selling out fairly early on, and we realized, look, like it's a good idea, it's a good concept, they're buybacks, it's time to kind of go hard or go home. So like this month, for example, we have about like 30,000 bottles coming in, and we're looking to open up new states like New Jersey. So yeah, I mean, regarding the fact that this was kind of our like concept testing period, it's definitely exceeded our expectations, which means obviously a lot more work, a lot more focus, a lot more encouragement, of course. But then it also kind of gives you a little sense of threat. Like if this idea is working, you have to make sure that you kind of scale it quickly, you scale it properly, you build strong foundations, and then kind of also hope for the best. You know, yeah.
Well, it was really courageous of you to start, because a lot of people, especially in NYC, choose to be an entrepreneur, but more in their mid-20s after first experiencing a bit of the corporate life. Was it ever an option to you, or?
So I had definitely kind of considered getting like a job and stuff. Like I'd done many internships. I'd worked for people, and I was happy doing that. But I think during kind of my final year in college, like while I sat down, I was doing this with Scott, because of so many kind of positive like affirmations that, you know, this is a product that could work, it's a product that's going to reach the shelves, and like a strong network that we had created. I don't think I had a doubt that my wine would reach shelves, but I had a doubt that, you know, would it stay on shelves, and so far it has, and it's only been going on more and more shelves around New York. So yeah.
Thank you. And so you mentioned that you have a co-CEO, right?
Yeah.
His name is Scott.
Yeah.
And how would you say that his mindset differ from you? What might he bring that you are not able to? Is it more you guys do everything together? Do you have separate tasks?
No, absolutely. So Scott was already kind of in the wine industry before I was. He knew like the distributor. He was in touch with kind of like the sales guys in the team. So he was already more aware of the industry, of what's kind of needed, how to really sell your product in stores, like doing wine tastings and stuff like that. So he's been more kind of the wine guy per se. You know, he's French American. He's got that history in it, and I was kind of see in freshman year we actually became friends. You know, we met in NYU, and we always thought we'd start a company together, do something kind of in the food space. So we'd always had this thing. So he was like, Ayush, like I'm planning on doing something. Let's do it together. So I kind of handle like the day-to-day, the operations, big things to small things. He's kind of more on the sales itself, like going to like the stores, making sure like they're getting their wine, they're buying the wine, and more on like the actual sales part. So yeah, it's kind of a nice even split.
Yeah.
And then we also have a head of sales
Okay.
who is more kind of dominant on the sales stuff. So Scott can also work on making sure that the company has a brand, working together with me on making it a real, you know, like a proper company. And you know, then of course we have other people as well.
So you started with Scott, and did the head of sale come up as an option as you were continuing?
So our head of sales is also someone who works for the distribution company.
Okay.
So what we kind of did was we told him like we gave him equity in the company, and now what he does is he really pushes our wine. So because of him, we've really kind of reached as many places as we are, and because of him, we're probably going to get a Whole Foods account as well. So you know, like it's good things, big things. But otherwise, you know, we've also used like Scott's friends. Like one's a graphic designer, one's like a social media person. So you know, you just kind of get people who are good at their own things. You make them interested, you make them engaged, and
so as of now, you
treat
feel
them
like
well,
using freelancers that
Yeah.
way is more
at this point,
effective than
absolutely.
having actual employees.
Yeah.
Okay. Any future plans?
Any future plans? Yeah, so I mean, we have, firstly, we're going to be launching different wines for a lot more different pairings. We're going to be going around America. We're going to be doing different states now. Whole Foods is on the books. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot to do. Then again, you know, when you have a small team, you have to make sure that your foundations are strong. You have a strong company. Kind of everyone understands what's going on first before you really start to kind of scale up. Of course, you know, you want to scale up in a good time so that no one else can really come and cut you out of you know, your piece of the pie. But yeah, no, it's a lot of exciting stuff ahead. So yeah.
So to finish, I'd like to ask you if you could give one advice to any person that wants to endeavor any entrepreneurship experience. What would you recommend? What would be your piece of advice to them?
What would be my piece of advice to them? I'd say trust your gut, be open-minded, and be smart, you know, like be aware of what's happening, know who you are. You have to kind of engage with yourself a lot, because if you don't know who you are, it's hard to kind of how you'll come across to others, how others will come across to you. And when you work, you really have to be, you know, able to adapt to different circumstances, different people, different environments, and yeah, just, you know, be adaptable, be courageous, and enjoy what you're doing. You know, just try to find fun in
Patience
it.
is important, I'm sure.
And be patient, be very patient, because it's not like something can happen overnight. It really takes time. And when you're a small company, you know, you're counting on a lot of others, so you have to be patient. And if it happens, it happens. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
for meeting me.
Thank you.
And all the best for your company. It all sounds very exciting.
Thank you very much.